In the wild world of professional wrestling, larger-than-life personas are the norm. But some stars took that idea to a whole new level. We're talking about the true giants of the ring, men so massive, so imposing, you'd think they were plucked straight out of a comic book or a fantasy movie, yet they were real. Towering over their opponents and sometimes even the ropes themselves, these athletes weren't just tall, they were unforgettable. But behind the intimidating frames and thunderous slams were real people with surprising stories. Some came from humble beginnings, others wrestled personal demons off-screen, and a few even walked away from the spotlight to live completely different lives. This isn't just a list of big guys, it's a celebration of the extraordinary. So, lace up your boots, metaphorically, because here are 20 wrestling giants you won't believe actually stepped between the ropes and left an earth-shaking legacy behind. 20. Giant Gonzalez, the towering enigma from Argentina. When Giant Gonzalez stepped into the wrestling ring, the atmosphere shifted instantly. There was a palpable sense of awe and maybe a little disbelief because standing at an astonishing 8 feet tall, 2.44 meters, he was not just a man, he was a human skyscraper. No wrestler before or since has cast such a towering shadow in WWE history. Fans and opponents alike found themselves craning their necks, wondering if what they saw was even real. Born Jorge Gonzalez in Argentina, Giant Gonzalez's journey to wrestling was anything but typical. Originally, basketball was his dream. With a frame so tall and lanky, he was a natural fit for the sport. In 1988, the Atlanta Hawks drafted him, hoping this Argentine giant could bring a unique edge to the NBA. But his extraordinary height, while an asset, was also a challenge. Health complications tied to hormonal imbalances, which caused his towering size, made it difficult for him to perform at a competitive basketball level. These issues eventually sidelined his athletic career. But Jorge's size was too remarkable to go unnoticed for long, and the world of professional wrestling beckoned. Debuting in WCW as Elegante, he immediately made a splash, facing off against big names like Ric Flair. 19. Andre the Giant, wrestling's immortal colossus. Standing beside Andre the Giant was like stepping into a fairy tale where giants roamed the earth. Born André René Roussimoff in France, Andre wasn't just big, he was legendary. His size was the result of acromegaly, a rare hormonal disorder that caused his body to grow relentlessly, making him one of the tallest and heaviest men in the history of wrestling. By adulthood, Andre stood an incredible 7 feet 4 inches tall, 2.24 meters, and weighed over 500 pounds, 226 kilograms. But his greatness extended far beyond numbers. Andre's immense frame gave him an aura that was almost mythical. He wasn't just a wrestler, he was a living legend who seemed unstoppable. Starting his career in the 1960s, Andre quickly became a global sensation by overpowering opponents with ease, relying on his size and strength rather than flashy gimmicks. When he entered WWE during the 1970s and 80s, he was dubbed the Eighth Wonder of the World, a nickname he earned through years of dominance and charisma. One of his most iconic moments came at WrestleMania 3 in 1987. 18. Haystacks Calhoun, the gentle giant of the ring. Weighing over 600 pounds, 270 kilograms, Haystacks Calhoun was a true force of nature, yet he was known far more for his warmth and kindness than his size. Born William D. Calhoun in Texas, Haystacks was a barefoot behemoth who captured hearts with his signature denim overalls and an oversized horseshoe pendant around his neck, a symbol of good luck and resilience. Calhoun's wrestling career began in the 1950s, and he quickly became a staple of American wrestling, especially in tag team matches. Despite his enormous weight, he had an unassuming smile that belied the sheer power behind his moves. His wrestling style might have seemed simple, but his devastating body splashes and sit-downs were impossible to stop once they connected. What truly made Haystacks unforgettable wasn't just his size, but the gentle spirit he brought to the ring. Unlike many who use size to intimidate, Haystacks was a beloved figure, known for his generosity and deep respect for fans. He proved that a giant could be a hero, not a villain, and that kindness could coexist with power. 17. Paul White Big Show, main Deanan. Basta, the modern colossus. When you think of the modern wrestling giant, Paul White, better known as Big Show, instantly comes to mind. Standing 7 feet tall, 2.13 meters, and weighing over 400 pounds, 180 kilograms, Big Show is a commanding presence whose career spans decades and titles. Born with acromegaly like Andre, Big Show's body grew rapidly, making him one of the most physically imposing wrestlers in history. Early surgery halted his growth somewhat, but his size remained awe-inspiring. Big Show debuted in WCW as The Giant in 1995 and made waves by defeating Hulk Hogan for the World Heavyweight Championship in his very first match, a feat that stunned fans worldwide. He later joined WWE in 1999 and became a cornerstone of the company, collecting numerous world and tag team championships along the way. What sets Big Show apart is his versatility. He could be a terrifying villain or a lovable giant, seamlessly transitioning between serious competitor and comedic relief, often sharing hilarious moments with stars like John Cena. His intelligence, adaptability and charisma have kept him relevant for over 25 years, a true titan of professional wrestling. 16. The Great Khali, India's towering legend. The Great Khali, born Dalip Singh Rana, broke stereotypes and boundaries with his sheer presence. At 7 feet 1 inch tall, 2.16 meters, and over 350 pounds, 160 kilograms, Khali is India's most famous wrestling export, symbolizing pride and strength for millions. Before wrestling, Khali was a police officer in Punjab, known for his immense strength. His transition to WWE in 2006 was dramatic. He immediately set his sights on legendary figures like The Undertaker, showing he wasn't just a giant by size, but by spirit. In 2007, Khali made history as the first Indian to win the World Heavyweight Championship, a milestone that resonated deeply with fans worldwide. His finishing move, the Punjabi plunge, wasn't flashy, but it was effective and brutal. Off-screen, Khali surprised many with his gentle nature, sharp wit, and even his acting skills in Bollywood. He went on to found Continental Wrestling Entertainment, a school to train future wrestling stars in India, ensuring his legacy would last long after he left the ring. 15. Amas Talalope Jordan Omogbahin, Nigeria's new giant. When Amas entered the WWE ring, he brought a fresh energy and a new kind of giant to the spotlight. Standing 7 feet 3 inches, 2.21 meters, and weighing over 400 pounds, 180 kilograms, Amas combined incredible size with surprising agility, moving with a speed that seemed impossible for someone his size. Born in Lagos, Nigeria, Amas's athletic background in college basketball gave him a solid foundation of strength and explosiveness. WWE recognized his potential immediately, not just for his size but for his commanding presence. His debut at WrestleMania 37 was a turning point. Capturing the Raw Tag Team titles in his first in-ring performance showed he wasn't just another big man but a serious competitor. Since then, Amas has faced top stars like Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley and held his own, proving he's here to stay. Proud of his Nigerian roots, Amas is leading a new generation of giants, modern, powerful, and impossible to overlook. 14. Braun Strowman, the monster among men. Braun Strowman didn't enter WWE quietly, he stormed in. At 6 feet 8 inches, 2.03 meters, tall and weighing roughly 382 pounds, 173 kilograms, Strowman's arrival was less of a debut and more of an impact event. The man is a human avalanche, rolling through opponents with sheer force. Before wrestling, Adam Scherr, his real name, was a professional strongman. He competed in events where people pulled trucks, lifted boulders, and flipped tires bigger than most hot tubs. That background didn't just build muscles, it built presence. When Braun stepped into the ring as a member of the Wyatt family, he was quiet, masked, and intimidating. He didn't need to speak. His towering frame and unblinking glare did all the talking, but it was his solo run that truly defined him. Braun tore through WWE like a force of nature. He flipped an actual ambulance on live TV. He sprinted around the ring, shoulder-tackling grown men like they were foam mannequins. Whether facing Roman Reigns, Big Show, or Brock Lesnar, Braun made it clear he wasn't just big, he was dangerous. His crowning achievement came at WrestleMania 36 during the early months of the pandemic, when he defeated Goldberg to become Universal Champion. It was a defining moment, proof that Strowman had moved beyond spectacle and into elite territory. 13. Giant Silver, Brazil's gentle giant. In a world where giants are often portrayed as monsters, Giant Silver was the exception. A gentle giant with a big smile and an even bigger heart. Standing at 7 feet 2 inches, 2.18 meters, and weighing 380 pounds, 172 kilograms, Paulo César da Silva was impossible to miss. But despite his towering frame, Silva exuded a calm, friendly energy that fans gravitated toward. Before stepping into the world of wrestling, Silva was a professional basketball player representing Brazil in the 1988 Olympics. He was an athletic marvel, tall, agile, and respected. But eventually, he made a surprising shift to wrestling in the late 90s, debuting in WWE's Oddities, a quirky, lovable group that included colorful misfits rather than traditional tough guys. Silva's massive size stood out, sure, but it was his approachability that truly made fans love him. He'd smile, interact with fans, and seemed like the kind of guy who could crush you but would rather give you a hug. It was a rare combination. Formidable, yet kind. After his wrestling run, Silva didn't fade into obscurity. He entered MMA, competing in Japan's Pride Fighting Championships, where the rules were real and the hits were harder. While he didn't rack up many wins, watching Silva enter the cage against other massive fighters like Choi Hong-man and Akebono was a spectacle unlike any other. 12th. Robert Maé, Kurgan, the quiet powerhouse. If you were watching wrestling in the late 90s, chances are you remember Kurgan, or as he's known outside the ring, Robert Maé. Towering at 6 feet 10 inches, 2.08 meters, Maé brought a menacing presence to WWE's chaotic Attitude Era. But beneath the intimidating stare and brutal in-ring style was a thoughtful, artistic man who would later find success on the big screen. Maé began his WWE run with the Truth Commission, a militaristic faction with an authoritarian edge. But his fame truly grew when he became part of the Oddities, a bizarre, theatrical group that leaned into fun rather than fear. This duality defined Melee. Brutal Iron Claw finishes one week, joyful dancing under strobe lights the next. It wasn't just about winning matches, it was about character. Kurgan became a cult favourite for his quirky energy and genuine likability, despite his intimidating build. After WWE, Melee shifted careers, and not just any shift. He became a full-time actor, appearing in massive films like 300, Sherlock Holmes, Trading Punches with Robert Downey Jr., and Pacific Rim. His physicality made him ideal for roles that required towering, powerful figures. Yet, in interviews and behind-the-scenes stories, Maé is often described as humble, gracious, and incredibly professional. 11. Nathan Jones, from prison walls to WrestleMania. Lights. Nathan Jones is the kind of person whose life sounds like a Hollywood script, from prison to the biggest stage in sports entertainment, with plenty of jaw-dropping moments along the way. Born in Australia, Jones was a towering figure, standing 6 feet 11 inches, 2.11 meters, and weighing around 330 pounds, 150 kilograms. His size alone would have drawn attention, but his past made him all the more intriguing. Jones had a troubled youth and ended up in Bogo Road Jail, one of Australia's most notorious prisons, where he earned the nickname the Colossus of Bogo Road. It was there that he began to turn his life around. Post-prison, he dedicated himself to bodybuilding and strength training, eventually making the leap into professional wrestling. WWE saw star potential immediately. Jones was cast in a major storyline, even slated to team with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 19, a role typically reserved for trusted, top-tier talent. But real life doesn't always follow the script. Jones struggled with the in-ring pace and was removed from the match at the last minute, only appearing briefly to deliver a post-match beatdown. Shortly after, he left WWE, citing travel and performance concerns. Yet, like many giants on this list, Jones reinvented himself. He moved into Hollywood, where his physical presence became an asset. He appeared in Troy, Mad Max, Fury Road, and The Protector alongside Tony Jaa, becoming a go-to figure for roles needing an intimidating warrior or henchman. 10. Martin Ruan, the unstoppable giant Haystacks. Standing at an awe-inspiring 6 feet 11 inches, 2.11 meters, and weighing over 680 pounds, 310 kilograms, Martin Ruan, better known to wrestling fans as Giant Haystacks, was more than just a giant. He was a living fortress. Born in Camberwell, London in 1946 into an Irish family, Ruan's upbringing was rooted in humble beginnings. As a young boy, he moved with his family to Salford, an industrial town in northern England, where the tough blue-collar atmosphere shaped his future in ways few could imagine. Before the wrestling spotlight found him, Ruan worked as a construction labourer and a nightclub bouncer, jobs that demanded both physical strength and endurance. His immense size and raw power made him perfectly suited to these roles, yet the world would soon know him as something far greater. In 1967, under the ring name Luke McMasters, he began his wrestling journey, but it wasn't until the 1970s, when he adopted the moniker Giant Haystacks, that his true legend began. Haystacks was a force of nature. His every step caused the ring to tremble, his very presence intimidating opponents and fans alike. 9. William Morrissey, the Agile Giant. Known as Big Cass, height often comes with a stereotype: slow, lumbering, unable to move with grace. William Morrissey, better known by his wrestling names Big Cass and Big Bill, shattered that cliché. Towering at 6 feet 10 inches, 2.08 meters, and weighing around 270 pounds, 122 kilograms, Morrissey combined the imposing presence of a giant with the surprising speed and agility of a seasoned athlete. From the moment he stepped into WWE's spotlight, he was immediately recognized as a potential breakout star. His partnership with Enzo Amore was electric. The duo's chemistry was infectious, their entrances loud, full of swagger, humor, and undeniable charisma. Together, they revitalized NXT's tag team scene, and their success carried over to WWE's main roster, where they commanded attention with their raw energy and dynamic performances. Yet behind the glitz and excitement were real struggles. Morrissey faced numerous injuries that sidelined him, and battles with mental health threatened to derail his career. His departure from WWE in 2018 was a low point, but what followed was a testament to his resilience. Reinventing himself as W. Morrissey and later adopting the ring name Big Bill in AEW, he's now on a path of redemption and growth. 8. Glenn Jacobs, the monstrous and multifaceted Kane. Few wrestling characters have captured imaginations as vividly as Kane, the towering figure clad in black and red, emerging through smoke and fire. Standing at 7 feet 2 inches, 2.13 meters, and weighing 320 pounds, 145 kilograms, Kane wasn't just a physical giant, he was a symbol of horror and mystery brought to life in the WWE universe. Glenn Jacobs debuted as Kane in 1997 with one of the most memorable entrances in wrestling history, tearing apart the steel door of the Hell in a Cell structure to confront his storyline brother, The Undertaker. That moment was electric, signaling the arrival of a character who would become one of the WWE's most enduring and complex figures. Kane's storylines often revolved around themes of darkness, family betrayal, and supernatural elements. The saga of Kane and The Undertaker, two brothers locked in a decades-long feud and alliance, remains one of wrestling's greatest epics. But Kane was never just The Undertaker's shadow. He carved out his own legacy by battling legends like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, and John Cena. Despite his monstrous size and fearsome image, Kane showcased surprising agility and versatility. He could dominate with power moves, but also display comedic timing and genuine emotion, especially in his popular tag team partnership with Daniel Bryan. 7. Mark Calloway, the legendary Undertaker. How do you create an aura so powerful that arenas fall silent when you appear? Mark Calloway, better known as The Undertaker, is the embodiment of that mystique. Standing 6 feet 10 inches, 2.08 meters, and weighing 300 pounds, 136 kilograms, he was never just a wrestler. He was a legend in the making from his WWE debut in 1990. With eerie church bells tolling and lights dimming to near darkness, The Undertaker's entrance was an event in itself. A slow, deliberate walk to the ring with eyes rolled back, conveying an otherworldly presence that sent chills down the spines of millions. Yet, beyond the theatricality was an elite athlete. The Undertaker was agile, enduring, and a master storyteller inside the ring. His performances transcended pure wrestling moves. They were narratives that captivated audiences night after night. No legacy in wrestling is complete without mentioning his WrestleMania streak. 21 consecutive victories at WWE's grandest event. Each match was a chapter in a saga that included battles with Kane, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Brock Lesnar. The Undertaker didn't just participate, he defined eras. His character evolved over time, adapting to new storylines and audiences without ever losing the essence of what made him iconic. When the lights went out and the bells tolled, the world stopped to watch because The Undertaker was not just a wrestler. He was an experience, a myth, a force that transcended sports entertainment. 6. Big John Studd, the proud powerhouse of the 1980s. In an era defined by larger-than-life personalities, Big John Studd was a giant who demanded respect. Standing 6 feet 10 inches, 2.08 meters, and weighing around 365 pounds, 165 kilograms, Studd was a commanding presence during WWE's golden era. Studd's claim to fame included his legendary rivalry with Andre the Giant, a feud that wasn't just a storyline but a battle for supremacy between two giants who defined wrestling's era of spectacle. Their confrontation at the first WrestleMania remains one of the sport's most iconic moments. When Andre Body slammed Studd, a feat previously thought impossible, the crowd erupted in disbelief and awe. But that moment underscored Studd's stature as a worthy competitor. Only a true giant could make Andre's victory so monumental. Beyond Andre, Big John Studd faced off against other wrestling legends like Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake Roberts, and King Kong Bundy. His combination of raw strength, pride, and sheer determination made him a cornerstone of the wrestling scene. His 1989 Royal Rumble victory was a triumphant comeback, proving that Studd was more than just muscle. He was a symbol of resilience and dominance in a sport where legends were forged through sweat and grit. 5. Sid Eudy. The Storm called Sid. Vicious. Sid Eudy, known by names such as Sid Vicious, Sid Justice, and Psycho Sid, was a force of nature in the ring. Standing 6 feet 9 inches, 2.06 meters, tall and weighing over 300 pounds, 136 kilograms, Sid combined raw muscle with an aura of unpredictability. Sid's presence was electric and unsettling. Unlike wrestlers who relied on flashy moves or charismatic promos, Sid commanded attention with his intense burning stare and a sense of impending violence. His signature powerbomb wasn't just a move, it was a statement that no one dared to forget. His career spanned the biggest wrestling promotions, WWE, WCW, and ECW, and wherever he went, he left a trail of destruction and unforgettable moments. Sid headlined WrestleMania and held multiple world championships, yet his unpredictability and volatility made him as feared as he was revered. Sid wasn't the typical crowd pleaser. He was a tempest, fierce, sometimes unhinged, and always dangerous. His ability to evoke both awe and anxiety made his matches compelling, a dance on the edge of chaos that kept fans glued to their seats. 4. Kevin Nash. Diesel, the Silent Enforcer. Kevin Nash, known primarily by his ring name Diesel, brought something unique to the world of giants. Standing 6 feet 10 inches, 2.08 meters, and weighing over 300 pounds, 136 kilograms, Nash combined raw power with an unmistakable coolness and intelligence. Diesel's in-ring persona was that of the Silent Enforcer, a man who didn't need to shout or flash to command attention. His slow, deliberate walk, piercing gaze, and black gear spoke volumes. When Nash landed his devastating powerbomb, the match was often over instantly. But what set Nash apart wasn't just his physicality. He was a master strategist, both inside and outside the ring. His ability to read crowds, control pacing, and deliver moments with precision made him a wrestler's wrestler. Nash's impact extended far beyond WWE. Along with Scott Hall, he co-founded the New World Order, NWO, in WCW, a faction that revolutionized wrestling by introducing edgier storylines, blurred lines between heroes and villains, and a level of unpredictability that shook the wrestling world. Kevin Nash wasn't just a giant in size, he was a giant in influence, intelligence, and style. 3. Shirley Crabtree, Big Daddy, Britain's wrestling heart. You don't need to be the tallest or the strongest to become a cultural icon. Shirley Crabtree, known affectionately as Big Daddy, was nearly 2 meters tall and weighed over 300 pounds, 136 kilograms. But what truly set him apart was his heart. In the 1970s and 80s, Big Daddy was the face of British wrestling, a beloved hero who brought joy, warmth, and entertainment to millions. His snowy white hair, glittering robes, and booming personality made him instantly recognizable. Big Daddy's style was straightforward, relying on brute strength and thunderous slams. But it was his connection to fans that made him special. Families gathered around their TVs to watch him, children cheered, and adults felt a genuine sense of pride. His legendary feud with Giant Haystacks wasn't just a wrestling rivalry, it was a cultural phenomenon, a story that united fans across the UK. Big Daddy's legacy isn't just about wrestling moves, it's about kindness, charisma, and the simple power of being a hero to a generation. 2. Max Palmer, the towering Paul Bunin. When you hear of Max Palmer, also known as Paul Bunin, you imagine a giant straight out of myth. Standing at an astonishing 7 feet 7 inches, 2.31 meters, Palmer was more than just tall, he was a walking skyscraper among mortals. Born in Mississippi, Palmer initially pursued a career in basketball, briefly playing in the NBA. But the league's fast pace and agility demands didn't quite fit his frame. Transitioning to professional wrestling gave him a stage that embraced his extraordinary size. Taking the name Paul Bunin, inspired by a legendary American lumberjack known for his immense size and strength, Palmer quickly became a spectacle in the wrestling world. His matches weren't about technical skill, they were about awe and wonder. Fans came not to see a wrestling match, but to witness a giant like no other. After leaving wrestling, Palmer surprised many by devoting his life to evangelism, using his unique presence to inspire faith and connect with people on a deeply human level. His story is a reminder that even the tallest giants can walk humbly. 1. Gary Robbins, the Canadian Colossus. At 7 feet 5 inches, 2.26 meters, and nearly 380 pounds, 172 kilograms, Gary Robbins, known as the Canadian Giant, was one of wrestling's most physically unforgettable figures. Born in Ontario, Robbins' size alone was surreal, like something out of a comic book. His presence in the ring was imposing. Opponents didn't just face a wrestler, they faced a mountain. Robbins made his mark in the 1980s and 90s wrestling scene, often promoted as an unstoppable force. He didn't need fancy moves or elaborate storylines. Just existing in the ring was enough to command attention. For many opponents, surviving a match or making him stumble was a badge of honor. Beyond wrestling, Robbins became a cult favorite in horror films, starring in eerie and unforgettable roles in movies like Humongous and Wrong Turn. His physical presence was so commanding that complex scripts or dramatic performances weren't necessary to chill audiences. Robbins' legacy is one of raw power and unforgettable impact. Sometimes being a giant means simply showing up, and Gary Robbins did that better than almost anyone. Your one click can help us keep